This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com, and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Good evening. Welcome to the Jamie Glazov Moment. Tonight, when Islam became a race. Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to continue discussing this issue tonight in terms of how the unholy alliance between the left and Islamic supremacism, how it continues to brainwash our culture and constantly makes these accusations against the truth tellers, which is very important to fight against. So look, as terror increases, and it's skyrocketing, but the denial is also in place. So we see what's happening, and the establishment media often just buries it on bottom pages or back pages. But if you follow Jihad Watch with Robert Spencer, if you follow Front Page Magazine, if you follow the Glazov Gang or Annie Cyrus's site Live Up to Freedom, you'll see that things are really escalating. There's carbide jihad, there's stab jihad, there's all kinds of jihad escalating everywhere. Islamization is increasing. And yet what's happening now is that many people are intimidated. The establishment media is completely in the pocket of the unholy alliance, and people are afraid. Because if you say anything about this jihad that's occurring and the Islamization, you are immediately labeled a racist, and you also are libeled and slandered as a person who hates all Muslims. And I wanted to talk about this vicious lie this evening and to negate it, because it's very important to fight against it. Because this is coming in my new book, Jihadist Psychopath, where I document this and discuss it. I unveil the Jihadist Psychopath's plantation on which the West now exists. The Jihadist Psychopath has a plantation, and he's put the West on it. Many of our leaders, our media, our institutions, we're on this plantation, and we're not allowed to think for ourselves. Because by being on this plantation, the people who are on it, and it's many people and many of our leaders, people are afraid when jihad occurs, when Islamic blasphemy laws are being imposed, when Sharia is growing, people are afraid to say anything. Because if they say something, immediately the finger is pointed, you're a racist and you hate all Muslims. And people are terrified of that. But I wanted to spend a couple minutes this evening to just fight back against this and to remind our viewers and to remind people about these vicious lies, the importance also of getting my book and using it to equip yourself in terms of this culture war and this propaganda war where we have to fight back. So just to start with, ladies and gentlemen, the left is very clever. These Islamic supremacists are very clever what they've done, because they've racialized Islam. Islam is not a race. Islam comes in all races. I can't help from asking, many people who, say that Islam is a race and, that usually they're hating white people. I can't help from asking, what race was Muhammad exactly? And we can get into this, but, Islam comes with Asian people and black people and white people. There's many races in Islam. So this whole thing about being racist when you say something truthful about the danger of jihad and Sharia and from where they receive their inspiration and sanctioning, it's got nothing to do with race. This is an ideology. And it's very important for us to fight back on that. Now, also this lie that somehow the truth teller about Islam hates Muslims. So this is also a vicious slander. But the unholy alliance is very shrewd and sophisticated here, okay? So they've racialized Islam, so people are afraid to even say anything because they'll be labeled racists, which is, of course, BS. And they've also conflated Islam with Muslims. So in other words, what they've done is if somebody says something about Islam, they've made this paradigm where you somehow hate all Muslim people. And this is BS. And actually, they're the ones, the people who point the fingers, they're actually the ones who hate Muslim people. Because The truth tellers are the people who love Muslim people and want to protect Muslim people from Sharia and jihad, because not only non-Muslims are victims of this death cult, but Muslims are as well. So at the Glazov Gang, for instance, you know, I often think about this. We're fighting for the rights of Muslim girls. We want to protect them from female genital mutilation. We want to protect them from honor killings, and Muslim women as well, Muslim girls, Muslim women. We want to protect them from honor killings, from female genital mutilation, from forced marriage, from forced segregation, from forced veiling. If we dedicate so much of our time and our energy and everything we stand for to protect Muslim women and girls, how could it be that we hate Muslim people? And yet the people who accuse us of this are the ones that are turning their back on the suffering of Muslim people. We do not hate Muslim people. We love all people, including Muslims. Our problem is with a totalitarian, aggressive ideology, which is Islam, and the devout Muslims who follow it. Yes, this is what we're concerned about, because the devout Muslims are inspired and feel sanctioned by the Islamic texts that mandate jihad and Sharia law, etc., etc., etc. But it's very important for us to fight against this propaganda, because we are fighting against and we're concerned about an ideology. And it's very important to stress that there are many Muslim people who are born within Islam, but they don't have a choice in terms of what they call themselves. People who are born within an Islamic environment, they label themselves and are labeled Muslim, but they were never given a choice. And the problem is, part of the problem is that while these many Muslim people do not follow jihad, do not follow Sharia, and they're considered bad Muslims by Islam, but we have no problem with those people, and they're labeled Muslims, but they're not devout and they don't intend on carrying out Sharia or jihad, etc., etc. But one of the problems these people face, and our compassion and our love goes out to them, is that they're also very scared to leave Islam, because those who leave Islam are apostates, and there is a punishment for apostasy in Islam. For instance, I just wanted to mention one example this evening. Terrifying story. The Egyptian intellectual Farrokh Foda, who was murdered in 1992 in Egypt. Now, in a statement claiming responsibility for the killing, the Islamic terror group Al-Gamma al-Islamiyya accused Foda of being an apostate. And this group explicitly referred to the Al-Azhar fatwa that had accused him of blasphemy. All right, so Foda, for instance, was more for a secular form of Islam, and whether or not that makes sense or is Islamic is another argument. But he believed in more of a secular country, and he was ruthlessly treated for that, and ultimately he was murdered. Now, the Al-Azhar scholar Muhammad al-Ghazali later asserted as a witness before the court that it was not wrong to kill an apostate. Okay? So 8 out of those 13 jihadists, Islamic supremacists, that were brought to trial for Foda's murder, they were subsequently acquitted. Where does Islam get the idea that someone should be killed if they leave Islam? Well, it's in the Islamic texts, in Quran 4:89 and in Sahih Bukhari 9:84-57. Why did I bring this up today? Well, I'm connecting it, ladies and gentlemen, to the fact that we must understand that our problem, our concern is with Islam and not with many Muslim people. And there are many Muslim people who are trapped within Islam and are also afraid of the apostasy laws. Our problem is with an ideology, not with people. But yes, we are concerned about the devout Muslims who are carrying out the mandates of violent jihad. So what do I want to end with this evening? As the jihad increases and escalates, Do not allow the unholy alliance. Do not allow them to intimidate you. When they call you racist, when they say that you hate all Muslim people, you gotta fight back in this culture war. And you cannot allow them to control the boundaries of discourse, to control the boundaries of debate. Stand up and expose these vicious lies and slanders. Now, in my book, Jihad is Psychopath, which you should order, I explain this whole paradigm. I explain how this whole jihadist psychopath's plantation works and how he's brainwashing us and how he's made people afraid to speak the truth. Fight back against these lies. Get off of this plantation if you're on it. Because once you acquire the equipment and the knowledge in order to fight back in this culture war and to dismantle and unveil these slanders that somehow a truth teller about Islam is a racist or hates all Muslims, if you expose these lies, you will be equipped to protect our precious civilization. Thank you for joining the Jamie Glazov Moment tonight. We'll see you soon.